So I am turning the food garden, this up here, into a food garden, and the flower garden again is going in the back, which is going to be a whole different day, multiple day process of getting that cleaned up and transitioned over. But I've got a couple of plants to save and a whole bunch of stuff to get just picked up and dealt with. All right, I don't know if the woodpeckers are already at it, but yeah, I hope that's woodpeckers. All right, so we came into the get ready area and I have grabbed up all of my tools that I'm going to need. So let's take a look at that. Got my bucket, got a shovel, got things to cut with, got my weed cleaning thingy and edging for the flower beds, and I've got the garlic I have got to plant today. The sun is just now coming up. It is a crisp, cool 34 degrees, which is why I am so covered. And it will be like 75 by the end of the day, so we will delayer as the day goes on. However, let's get this party started. Primarily what we are doing is taking out the zinnias and the perennials. The perennials are going to move up to the front. The zinnias are going to go to the chickens. We're going to be planting some garlic, taking out the coleos, and just a general cleanup of the vicinity. We are not removing the dahlias yet. I'm waiting for the first killing frost. Plus, the bees are sleeping in there, and I'd prefer one not to make them mad. Plus, they're absolutely freaking adorable. Who doesn't like sleeping bumblebees? There was one yesterday that was ginormous, like almost as big as a dahlia. So we're most definitely not making the big mama mad, because I don't know if that was the queen, because it was huge. Let's pan you all around so you can see the hot mess that we're dealing with for garden cleanup 2024. So we tried to plant back there. That did not work out well. So what I'm going to do is actually plant elderberry trees all the way on that back line right there, all the way up to about there, because that's going to be turned back into the chicken run. They were much happier. They got a lot more shade in the summertime, and they weren't as hot. So we're going to move them back. Now there's grass and edible things there, and we're going to give them things to play with. They have the tree to play with, that monstrosity that breaks every freaking year. Then up here, we're getting rid of the tomatoes because they're tomatoes and it's cold. The zinnias are being pulled and give it to the chickens. The coleos, and if you put coleos in the ground and you just let that crap go, it redoes like basil. So you snip it down and it bushes, and it's really cool. In these two raised beds, we've got to take out pretty much everything. I think I'm going to try to replant the snaps somewhere because they're supposedly perennial in my area. Supposedly. The big sage bush is going to be transplanted up front. That bed is going to be completely cleared out along with all the randoms. And I have to say goodbye to the moonflower that is covering the fence, which is sad, but she got a little aggressive. Yeah. And then we've got to dig up this guy, which is an elderberry, which is what I'm going to plant back in the back. And there's one in the passageway that I'm going to trim up and make little plants to go around for the chickens. These are the mama elderberries. I've already trimmed them up for the year. They will stay like that until they decide to go to sleep and then come back next year. And I will take them down to probably my knees again, and then they will go bonkers. That's how it always goes. But the gaillardia is going to go up front because that's a perennial here. I don't even know what that stuff is clumping around. I'm kind of scared to find out. Probably a pokeberry, just to be honest. There are roses in there. The moonflower kind of said no. Then over here, we're keeping the rose here, but everything else is going, and I'm going to dig up all of the bulbs here, trim back the blackberry that tries to kill me every year. And once the killing frost hits, that's when I will take down and mark the dahlias. But even right now, I see bees pretty much sleeping on each and every one of these flowers, and I am not going to wake them up. I'm just going to let them do their thing. It's some of the last food they're going to get, so we're going to let that happen. We're going to clean up all of these beds. We're going to clean up all of these beds and give it an edging. And yes, a very cheap edging from Amazon. We'll see how that goes. Get all that cleaned up. I have one more hydrangea, which I think I'm going to plant over there by the windows of the chicken coop, especially for the summertime to help with some shade. And they can't eat them there. Bonus, but nothing likes it right there because it's too shady. I'll take some pictures of the pretty flowers and we'll get started. That always looks like it goes so fast on speed through though. Sun's coming up and I may get to shed a layer, which will be nice. But we have successfully gotten all of the noxious weeds out. And these are weeds that are going to choke out pretty much any other. But the weeds I pulled are noxious weeds that are actually going to choke out anything I have planted here. So we're going to move around to the next garden bed, which is going to have a little less weeding because there are a lot of dahlias. And I mean a lot. The goal with the dahlias this year, I did not sell but a few because I grew them from seed. So they were super late coming out. But now I will know what dahlias are what because I got a seed mix. And I can mark them in their tubers once first frost hits. Or first killing frost. We've already had the first frost. But the first killing frost. Then I will take them down. We'll mark them, take them down, dig up the tubers, and I will use those tubers next year to replant them. And I did all of that from seed, so it cost me like $3. $3 tops is what it cost me to get all the tubers that I'm going to get this year and hopefully be able to save for next planting season. All right, let's see which Gaillardia is going to survive and which Gaillardia is not going to survive. Somebody hath stolen the weeds. And for now, we are done weeding around the dahlias because the bees are waking up. Well, I just made one very, very, very angry. So we will move on to the next thing that needs to be done. The next thing we're going to tackle is this area. And that is because we're doing this side first because this is where I need to put the garlic. And yes, the sun is blinding me. But we have -1 layer, which is a bonus. This is a perennial, which I'm going to dig up and put in the front yard. And the goblin gaillardia, which is over there, is also going to be dug up and hopefully put in the front yard and I don't kill it. We're going to try. But I got to get this cleaned up first so that we can put the garlic in and that can be done. So there is a reason I separated out everything I pulled. I know that chickens are not supposed to get coleus, so I need to double check the marigolds. I think they'll eat the bugs. I'm not sure they'll actually eat the plants. I know moonflower they're not supposed to have because it is toxic, so that's just going to have to go somewhere else. And with garlic, when planting garlic, just make sure the root end is down and shove it in the ground. Garlic likes to grow. I have yet to do it wrong, and I don't really pay attention to what all the special things everybody does. I shove it to the ground, I cover it up, and then I mulch as needed throughout the year. This is the first time I will be doing it in a raised bed like this, so I will probably water it a little bit more than normal, but our winters tend to be kind of wet, so that's probably the only thing I'm going to keep an eye on because, yeah. Plus, I grew so much garlic this year, I may never need to grow it again. Seriously, I have so much garlic, which I have to take care of, and I don't want to. Because it is difficult. But when you are pulling your weeds and you have chickens, just make sure that you double check, Google it, ChatGPT it, something, to make sure it's actually safe to give to your chickens. And with garlic, when planting garlic, just make sure the root end is down and shove it in the ground. Garlic likes to grow. I have yet to do it wrong, and I don't really pay attention to what all the special things everybody does. I shove it to the ground, I cover it up, and then I mulch as needed throughout the year. This is the first time I will be doing it in a raised bed like this, so I will probably water it a little bit more than normal, but our winters tend to be kind of wet, so that's probably the only thing I'm going to keep an eye on because, plus, I grew so much garlic this year, I may never need to grow it again. It is time to attack the moonflower, and I feel so bad, but it is time for her to come down. She's been so pretty. I will pop up some pictures and just show how beautiful she has been all summer long. Oh, this is going to be sad. I finally got my moonflower fence and it has to come down. I will put it up somewhere next year. It will go back up. We will have it again. I did go ahead and leave some of the moonflower up on the fence because it is an annual. It will die. And I figure that's going to be much easier pulling down once it's dead and crispy. Because right now it's not simple. That was a lot. But we got it up. We're going to go put it on our big, huge fence row back at the back where we're tossing all the really big trees and everything. So like just a ton of animals live in there. And if that does grow, it gives them a little bit extra protection. Stuff like that. They're wild animals, so they know better than to eat it because they're smarter than that. I don't think my chickens are. I love my chickens. I do not think they're smart enough not to eat it. So, safety reasons, we're going to put it back there. If it regrows, it grows. Our next phase is to get this big boy up. And then hopefully I can get to all the tomatoes and everything that I put back there that did not do well because the moonflower kind of suffocated everything. Don't plant 12 moonflower seeds. Noted. There is also the elderberry back here, which is what I think I'm going to split off to do the elderberry back along that row. And at some point I got to fight and find my really expensive rose bushes back by the pond, which are then moving up here once all this dies off. All right. Whew. More digging and then we get to the next raised bed. I know it's on speed through for y'all, but I've now been at this for hours. We have delayered multiple times and we'll continue, but there's a nice breeze. The sun is behind a tree and that will put me into shade for at least hopefully the rest of this portion. So let's get it going. There was a detour. I had to chase down the new rooster. We may actually have 2 new roosters. I'm already getting tired, but there is so much more to do. Everything in here is an annual and it will die anyway. So I just need to clean up around the roses and make sure they have enough room to breathe. And I think that means for this area, that's going to be it for the day because I got to get everything else moved around. But then we have to flip behind you with the bees. And I have more sagey stuff. This is when you know I need to eat. I have no more words. No more words. Words don't work. More foliage to dig up and replant and to get the bulbs out so I can put those in the other garden beds. I am debating on replanting the snapdragons and see if I can perennialize them here. I do not know. We do not get super duper duper hard frost, but they are tender, so I don't. I'm gonna finish up this little area and then I'm probably gonna eat lunch because I need a minute because I'm tired. It was pretty dang early when we got out here. All right, see you in a few. There's a big honking bee over here who is so big he just landed on, or she, I don't know, just landed on a smaller bee. I was like, oh, my bad. But for today, we are done back here in the Chaos Garden area. We'll probably be back tomorrow to finish up what I need to finish up. Do that in the morning while the bees are sleeping. I forget what else is on the docket for tomorrow. But for now, we'll be done with the Chaos Garden for the day. Another thing to check off the to-do list. Okay. So let me explain why I just blew out all the leaves and everything and dropped more seeds. So I cleaned it up because I don't want any more weed seeds blowing into the gravel area. So yes, this round I cleaned up, especially as I'm pulling out all the noxious weeds. They're really, really bad ones that just take over everything. And we are ditching them way out back. And then I will clean up after that, hopefully to get as much as I can. What I am finding is about 1 billion marigolds are blooming, or they're popping up everywhere, all in the gravel. So that's going to be fun next year. And I will go through and I will wait for a lot of the weeds to die down that are just in the gravel. They're not hard to get up. They're just annoying, whatever. Not a big deal as long as the beds are clear of anything that will choke out the plants I want to plant and get food from. I am fine. We have a few more projects going on that will actually move a lot more up closer to the house, allowing the big flower garden to be in the back. And the front yard is coming along fabulously. I have so many plants and so many ideas. It's just going to take another 6 to 8 months to get that done. And it all needs to be in like one video or it's just not going to make bloody sense. And you're going to be like, well, that was nothing. So I want to put it all into one video, one fell swoop of it all. All right, it is time to go work in the front yard, and y'all will see that in the spring, summer, sometime when it's done. Whenever the things are done is when you'll see it. All right, I will see you tomorrow back here yet again, and it'll be a blink of an eye for y'all, not for me. I got crap to do.